Nope, this is part of the office is open. So welcome, go ahead. Well, we'd like to come into your office. Well, this is the office that we're going to open for there. What do people think?
I think we should be wherever it's offered.
Okay. Because there's coffee that we put through there, so the problem is this is too small. Well,
Cookie is standing room only.
no smaller than the actually on there. In terms of shooting, or what we can find.
Well, yeah, in terms of seating, people stand around.
That will normally allow the public in is actually just that little front corner. You're right, the actual space of the office is larger than here, but...
I've never been there, I'm just suggesting that.
Oh, well, it's smaller, about 13 times. So then we get cookies for trillions of dollars in military spending.
I have a pertinent question related to military spending. Just yesterday I received an email from this office regarding a bill that is being sponsored that will, according to my reading, embed civilian rebuilding contractors within the U.S. military to rebuild it, even as we're blowing it up. I want to know why you would even think like that. I'm really very sorry that due to our cohorts in the Pentagon, they've left no one uncorrupted to deal with in the country. But the answer is still no. We need to leave. We need to let these people settle their own problems.
Right.
Whoever sorts out of that mess which we've created, don't ever forget that. As soon as those people sort out, we need to give them the money. Reparations. And even if we don't like their regime, even if they renationalize their oil fields, which I know exploits all of them, and our long-term economic health down the line, we need to do it that way. Otherwise, this war will never end until we suck every last drop of oil in the country. And I do not abide by that.
You guys hold the power of the purse, man. You got to cut the funds.
The supplemental bills aren't enough. The general military fund is overly bloated. A lot of it goes into the Iraq war, and Farr has voted for over $1 trillion in the general military fund since the wars began, and we're demanding that stop. And we don't think that the Democratic Party has not led in any way in opposing this war. And its vast majority voted for this war. Farr was one of the few that didn't, which was good, but we're not going to let him off the hook. As long as he's voting these huge amounts of money towards the war, it's still not good enough. And his party has been much worse. And really, the true movement against this war is coming from the people who are saying, we've had enough. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. We demanded it not happen in the first place. But the Democrat and Republican parties that are tied to big oil and the military-industrial complex voted for this. And Farr still voting for over $1 trillion is part of him being tied to that same system. The people demand and they expect better. Santa Cruz is an anti-war area, and him doing a few things like he's done is not enough, and we're not fooled by it.
I'd like to echo that sentiment. It's my feeling that Sam has a gold-plated constituency for this cause, and I wish that he would take a more active role, say on the lines of what Representative Woolsey is doing. That's my personal feeling about it. The question I would have for you is, there's a process for turning this into legislation within the Congress.
It is legislation.
It has not been enacted. There's a process for moving it through. What I'd like to know, if you can explain to me in language that's not too complicated, is where is this piece of legislation in the process towards getting brought to the floor? Has it reached any sort of committee level? I'm not an expert in congressional process. I assume that you are. And it would be useful for me, anyway, maybe for other people, I hope, to just understand where this thing sits in that process and what efforts are being made to move it forward.
Well, right now, it's like all of the various bills that have been introduced to end the war. Mrs. Woolsey has one. Mr. Sinich, Blumenauer from Portland have various versions of this.
What's your name?
My name is Alec Arago, and Alecarago. I'm Mr. Farr's district director. Like all of those, they're all essentially variations on that theme of get us out of Iraq now. We're looking for co-sponsors. On the back of that sheet, I list the current co-sponsors for Mr. Farr's bill as of today, and includes Mr. Kucinich, Barbara Lee, Lynn Woolsey, a couple of folks. Our effort is to expand that list.
Okay.
So it's essentially an internal marketing job with the other members of Congress to make the kind of concepts here, which are very simple. It's simply saying, look, get out now.
Right.
We shouldn't. The authority to go there in the first place needs to be repealed, and we need to get out now. I don't think certainly Mr. Farr doesn't think there's anything. You don't need to really extrapolate on that. That's just a very simple statement, and that's the point he's trying to make with this.
Has he said that? Has he said get out now?
I don't recall he said that. The President of the United States shall provide for the withdrawal of units from members of the United Armed Forces deployed in Iraq as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom in a safe and orderly manner.
That's 30 days.
Will he make a promise to stop? Will he make a promise to stop voting on any bills that fund this war?
Well, he's going to vote against the supplemental, and he has since the beginning. The initial vote for the first supplemental was 414 to 12. Sam was among the 12.
That's today's vote?
No, this was the first appropriation supplemental on the war. As you know, what the Bush administration has done is to fund the Iraq war operations through a mechanism called supplemental appropriation. When you file an emergency supplemental, it's quote-unquote off-budget. In other words, it's basically taking it out of the ordinary constraints that would limit additional spending.
It also takes it out of the reporting for the budget for the
But it's all,
That's not why we're here.
all of it has not come from the supplemental. So money from the overbloated general fund that Farr has voted for every year has been used to.
That's exactly right. That's what I mean.
And we want him to stop voting for that.
Is he going to? I'll pass that along. Has he ever indicated he might even consider not voting for the larger military appropriation? There are times in the past where he has voted against it.
Does he have
For the DoD appropriations bill, yes, sir.
Does he have any economic needs? I mean, I've never seen a congressional spreadsheet that they give him with their books. Does he have any way of separating the Iraqi military appropriations out, or is it just some sort of block grant, so to speak?
Well, the short answer is yes, and the way that that's separated out is for that the bulk, the necessary money to allow the Iraq war to continue is in the supplemental. Now, Mr. Argy was right that clearly broader Department of Defense funding helps what goes on in Iraq. I mean, obviously, it provides money for the infrastructure. But without the weapons system, without the money funded in the supplemental, you could not continue the level of you could not maintain 150,000 American military personnel in Iraq. I mean, that without the supplemental, that could happen.
There's supposed to be a vote coming up really soon, like today or tomorrow. Congressman Murphy has been working on making sure, and it's sort of a landmine for Congress in general, because his appropriations bill is going to require body armor for every single soldier. No more Humvees with tin doors, things like that. Things that the Pentagon, at their current state, and I read the other day they were expecting the war to last a few weeks and have 5,000 troops in the country. They weren't ready for this. They can't provide that sort of equipment, even after this many years. What's going to happen when that bill hits the floor?
Well, you just asked Mr. Farr about
Is that the same?
That would be the defense. Mr. Murtha is now the chairman of the defense.
Adequate, in my opinion, and the purpose of this is organized for him to continue to vote for the general war appropriations. And Farr has a record of doing these things in other places, not just going on to human beings in these countries, people dying, and the anger that's creating against the United States, and what the whole oil industry has done to the planet, and the fact that alternatives are not being pursued. Instead, they're pursuing war. Instead, they're pursuing death and putting trillions of dollars into war when we need to put trillions of dollars into saving the planet, into housing, into jobs, into education, into the things that people need.
And my children and my children's children will be paying for that, and I'm sorely vexed.
That's the point that Mr. Farr made last night in speaking for the resolution on the House floor was absurd, which is we diverted close to California's
Wall Street, and Sam, promised, that he would take the Black Caucus position, and they recommended voting a no against that resolution. And, Sam voted present. And when I went in this office, I come in here 5 times, and I still haven't gotten a response, why he voted that way. I want a response. Thank you.